welcome to the episode 2 of the Woke Salaryman Podcast. Today we are going to talk about what, Riming?
We're going to talk about Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan?
Yes, Attack
I
on
heard
Titan.
Off Titan.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Attack on Titan.
I guess Attack off Titan as well.
Okay, fine. And in Japanese it's called Shingeki no Kyojin.
Okay.
Yes.
Arigato.
Yes. So the manga ended like a few weeks back.
Right.
And it took you a while to catch up.
Yes, I'm caught up now. Like we both have finished chapter 139. That's the final one, right? So today we're going to talk about our thoughts on it. Like it's not exactly personal finance, and I must disclaim a bit. We're not going to link everything to personal finance. I think that won't do the narrative justice.
Some things.
Not
everything.
Yeah, but also I think it's just a great work of fiction that everybody should read. Because it's so vast in terms of the kind of narratives that it deals with and the things that it says about the modern world. I think it's like our generation's almost like Godfather, or like a lot of people draw lessons from the Godfather and stuff. I think this is our generation's whatever that big story is,
Yes.
Do you think everybody should read Attack on Titan?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if not for the entertainment value, it's a story that's pretty complex. And I mean, I feel that aside from like the mainstream Marvel Cinematic Universe that most people watch, I think it will help round up your perspective lah. So if like Marvel superheroes are like the perfect idealized world with perfect endings, touching endings, Attack on Titan will be the other.
A more realistic one.
more realistic.
Less hee-hee-ha-ha, as you would say.
Yes, less hee-hee-ha-ha.
Right.
Actually, my mom coined that term.
Oh, your mom coined that term.
Hee-hee-ha-ha. Don't do hee-hee-ha-ha jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
We won't do everything about personal finance. There'll be some things. So if you haven't read it or watched it, please go and read it and watch it. That's what we strongly recommend.
Yes.
But if you don't want, then you just wait until the next episode, right?
Yes.
We just are such big fans of Attack on Titan that we should do something about it. So past this point, spoilers alert. If you haven't watched and you want to watch, go and watch it, then can come back.
No, read it.
Read it, then come back. It's really worth it. The hour is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the ending first.
Yeah.
What did you think of what happened at the end?
I thought it was a pretty smart way to end. Even though it was not the ending that I wanted.
What's the ending that you wanted?
Yeah, I wanted an ending where Eren kills the whole world. I mean, he achieved all his goals.
Yes.
Then they allow them to kill him. But in some way, Eren kind of plants himself maybe in Historia's child to kind of...
His seed.
I mean...
To live on.
I don't know, through the paths or something.
Yeah.
In some way, so that he can continue to fight for Paradis Island in the event things don't turn out like the way
So
they
the
want.
child would be him.
Yeah, or like
That's kinda creepy, right?
possessed by him or something. Or like secretly he's Eren. Or
Because
something.
he's touching the founders. He'll have the founders' blood in him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I see. So you would have thought then that child would have been Eren's.
Yes.
Which it actually is not, right? It's some
it's
farm
not.
hands. It really is just some random farmhand.
Yes.
So actually then what's the difference there? The difference is just that the rumbling actually happens and wipes out everybody else except for the island. And then he continues on.
No, so same ending as the manga.
Yeah.
Like they get to kill Eren.
They get to kill Eren.
Get to see him as the good
But
guys.
why would they kill Eren? There will be nobody left
No,
but him.
because Eren killed everyone.
Except for the people of
Yeah, he
Paradis.
killed the whole world. He's obviously a villain now in the world's eyes.
But the whole world is dead.
No.
There's nobody
He
left.
killed 80% of the world.
No, currently he kills 80%. In the current
Yes.
ending, he kills 80%.
Yes.
But in your ending, he kills everybody except
No,
for Aldea.
same. So he
Also
kills,
same outcome.
Yeah, so he kills 80% of the world.
Right.
But then like they let him. He lets them kill him.
Oh, so the only difference is that continuation of his
Yeah.
seed, so to speak.
Yes, please. Okay, yes.
It is seed, what
Okay,
the fuck?
okay.
It is seed,
Seed,
human seed. Right. Yeah, so my ideal ending,
Yes.
was that Eren actually was acting out against Zeke, but he didn't kill the whole world. He just decides not to go ahead with the euthanization plan. Like my maybe a bit naive ending was that they just decide to keep the Titan powers. Instead, they use it to parlay peace across the whole world by saying, you see, we got this weapon, we won't use it, but if you then we will do it. Okay, so we're rumbling a bit.
Yeah.
Which was what a lot of them were talking about doing,
Yeah.
like Armin was saying.
It's
that
what Armin
also,
wanted.
Yeah,
Rumbling
yeah.
a bit, you keep the powers for ourselves.
Yeah, but then you see the naive thing is that happens, that probably has happened throughout history, that they always continue it and try to broker peace, but power inevitably corrupts. and then it would repeat itself again. So unless you do something drastically different, repeating the same thing again is a bit like socialism, like people try to say, communism was done in the past and it didn't work because they didn't do it right. I'll do it right this time. And almost always what happens is that it will be some messed up version of it anyway.
Yes.
So maybe we should just end it. So I actually get it. Like the ending actually I thought was interesting because it was such a vast expansion of like multiple people and all their different perspectives. Everybody was looking at the problem from a different point of view. Even when they gathered together at the end, right? Then Rainer was there, the freaking Theo Magath was there. There were so many diverse, and then at the end it just all the way back again, and it's about Eren and Mikasa and Mikasa's love to him.
Yes.
And my favorite part about that was that it goes back to Zeke's memory, and then he is asking Zeke about the Ackerman blood, like, hey, is there something wrong with the Ackerman blood? Why like this girl everything I do she keep then Zeke says, I think she just likes you, dude. And then when you zoom back to Ymir and her relationship with King Fritz, like why would you put up with the shit that this horrible dude did to you? Oh, she's in love with him. So she never felt freedom because she always felt like her unrequited ultimate love was always underneath.
It's like a slave to love.
Yeah, she was a slave to her love. And the only way Mikasa could free the world of this endless cycle of horror and abuse and great power imbalance, right?
Yeah.
Was she had to kill her love. Which was essentially what happened. They killed him.
Yes.
And she had to be okay with that. Then there's this thing about the scarf and how she won't take it off. Then there was a point where she took it off and she said, I'll keep it.
But she put it back on.
She put it back on
So
at the end.
in the end, the series tries to tell you tries to mislead you, telling you that Eren is the chosen one or Zeke is the chosen one. But end of the day, Mikasa is the chosen one.
It's Mikasa's story. I felt really because and we keep thinking like is Ackerman blood really? So it's just love actually. A bit corny at the end of the day the answer is love. It's like interstellar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that bit a lot. It's like ultimately it comes down to such a human thing. And this is really a thing about humans. Yeah. What do you think of some of the lessons that you can learn from personal finance?
Actually,
Did you have some?
prepared a list.
Walao.
So the first lesson I think we learned is complacency makes you weak. And also the resource curse you mentioned earlier. So I mean you see this happening in a few ways, right?
Yep.
So I mean the most obvious way I feel is Paradis Island, right? Paradis Island is the island was blocked off from the rest of the world for 100 years. And then they had a good life, everything was provided for. And in the end, they were not prepared to fight the Titans when the war broke. So that's the first big example of
Is it a bit like Singapore?
I'll get to that later.
Okay.
I'll get to that later.
Sorry, I jumped ahead.
It's okay. I list out all the examples first. Yeah. Another one is remember when Galliard Poko fought the scouts for the first time?
Yes.
He had spent so many times fighting soldiers who had never seen Titans before. He became used to the idea of Titan fucking powerful.
Yeah.
Then after that, when the scouts actually fight back, he was shocked. Yeah. So I mean, there's
I remember the shot. He saw all of them.
Yeah.
And he's like, how can this happen?
Yeah.
I'm a Titan. I'm supposed to be better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then and yet another example of complacency and the resource curse is when they mentioned that Mali relied on the Titans for so long that they forgot to develop their own capabilities.
Right.
Other countries go and develop tanks and armored shells already. Yeah. They're still relying on the Titans because they've used it for
such
so
an
long.
imbalanced power for so long. And in fact, they had a conversation in the army headquarters things. And they were saying, actually the viability of Titans as a resource and as an advantage in battle only...
will end when air power comes
Yes, which is already happening because air power became very prominent towards the end, right?
Because airships, right?
Yeah.
I see a lot of parallels to Singapore and life in general. I mean, one of them is like I said, I think Singapore is a lot like Paradis Island, because I feel like the government here does a relatively good job compared to the rest of the world.
Yep.
They help you plan your life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You want affordable housing.
You live within the walls.
Yeah.
You will have
exactly.
Payouts.
You live in Singapore. You go through the education system. I mean, for better or worse, this was how I brought up. You go to this degree. You get this
qualification. The path is set for
qualification.
you. You just follow.
You can work on an MNC. You can join the civil service. It's a very safe path, right? Even retirement, they kind of plan for you. They take away part of your salary, stash it aside, make sure you
You can cover yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
So you at least reach this
In a
retirement
way, it's like
sum.
walls, lah, right?
Yeah. So I feel like because of this, right, like many Singaporeans don't think they need to plan for their own retirement. So
This is gonna become like an insurance.
no. It's become
So
like
buy this and this.
It's like they become reliant on the government to plan for them, lah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like yeah, I got CPF. What CPF will back me up, but they don't go and learn like actual financial planning in themselves.
I mean, it's not as, of course, closed off as Paradis was because they didn't even know what was happening outside the walls. They didn't even know that there's the sea and the desert and all this
it's
stuff.
not like that, lah. Although you would think living in a country where everything runs like clockwork, okay, mostly clockwork, lah, right? You start to become blind to the realities outside the world. You know, outside the world, you know, there are water shortages. It can be robbed at
Actually, their land is very lush.
Yeah.
Like, I was struck by how when they broke out the wall, it's just desert, then sea.
Yeah.
That's it, you know. Like,
Exactly.
So actually, it's a very lush
it's like
place,
an
you know.
oasis in the desert.
Except for the Titans running around the outside, like, actually, you know,
Yeah.
can self-reliant.
It's actually doable one.
Yeah.
So, in many ways, if Singaporeans we don't go and, I mean, when we get used to the safety and like comfort, right?
Yep.
I mean, sometimes we go overseas, we let our guard down, people steal our things, or we walk on the streets at night, someone come beat us up financially, lah.
Relatively also, I mean,
Yes.
like, compared to our neighbours, maybe not the West, you know, with intergenerational wealth, but certainly regionally Singapore is very rich, right?
So it's possible to see this financial wealth as like the new oil, the new land, the new natural resources. My take is that if we let ourselves be too complacent, we could just be like Paradis. When the wall collapsed, they were not prepared at all.
Yeah, because if you think about it, who is ready when the war collapses? The survey corps, right?
Yeah.
Even a lot of the people within like the military, police,
They just know,
they were very
yeah.
comfortable, yeah.
Yeah.
So these guys to me are like the fat cats, just sit on their, you know, 8K, 10K, almost to 15K kind of salary, and then they just are very comfortable within the organizational hierarchy.
Yeah.
That they don't really upskill anymore.
Do you know who's very Singaporean?
Who?
John Kirstein is very Singaporean.
Who's that?
John. He's the
John,
yeah. He
right.
says something in the beginning like, I just want to join the military police and have a comfortable life.
In fact,
and have comfortable life within the walls.
Yeah,
that
towards
is
the end,
most Singaporean thing.
That is damn Singaporean, yeah. This is like, you know, I just retired, I got a little car, you know, 4-room, 5-room, TV,
exactly.
you know. And he even fantasized it like towards the end of the chapter, like the start of it, he's just drinking wine.
Yeah.
He has a kid, you know,
Yes.
he's living comfortably in the city centre.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he actually is quite Singaporean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in many ways, like the survey corps are like the people who always tell you to like, hey, upskill yourself, be prepared. Then like people like,
Devote your hearts.
Why you do this stupid thing?
Yeah,
Why,
enough already, why you been so hard for what?
why you work so hard? You know,
Yeah.
nothing will happen one.
Yeah.
But I mean, when things happen, it's always good to be prepared. lah.
Actually, that's a good analogy, because we talk a lot about the idea of Singaporeans being valuable and why, for example, a lot of foreigners come into Singapore and take high position jobs. And I always thought that, and this is from some of my experiences in MNC that's international, I always thought that, like, yeah, please open your beer.
Okay, open my beer.
I always thought that, like, if you are Singaporean, right, and you want to have a very high position in MNC, right, one of the most valuable skill sets you can have, right, is international experience. To go outside the walls for a while, to know what it's like. And the survey corps are some of the most, like, talented and capable people in terms of survival. So the Singaporeans that go out, that are willing to go out, are the ones who will survive when, you know, this kind of COVID situation is, because they are so valuable. So if you want to be one of them, right, you have to go out. And the best time to do it is when you're young.
Oh, I realized another parallel.
What's the parallel?
That the walls will eventually come down with remote working. Now your job can be
True,
done
yes.
by people.
Air travel, you see?
Yeah.
The Onyakapon, all they will come in. Right?
Yeah. So now your job can be performed by someone overseas.
Yes.
And that is like true competition, not just within Singapore, but around the world. And if you want to rise above the competition, then you gotta, you know, be exposed to the world. Right?
And I think that there's such a powerful thing in terms of having a macro perspective and being able to go outside your borders, because when they first contacted Mali, right, they were just so amazed. Wow, you can fly.
Yeah.
What's all this technology?
Yeah.
Then later on, because of that just that one touch with the outside and that trade of information, and also
Yeah, they learn so much.
they learned so much,
Yeah.
and they innovated to have the freaking thunder spears and all this stuff and their own.
Thunder Spear is before.
Thunder spear is before me.
Yeah, before they went out.
Or because of they were just innovating to
Yeah.
kill the Titans.
Yeah, they're innovating within.
So it's almost like it's like new water.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They, because of their specific necessity, they innovated something that the world will go, hey, what the hell, you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we talk a lot about like financial freedom and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously freedom is a big aspect of this story. And I think I have a lot of you can go very far with it. But I just like to talk about the idea that I think in a way, right, or at least the way I saw it at first, right, Ymir seems like a figure that attained financial freedom, but without the why.
Which email?
Ymir, the original Ymir,
The
and
real Ymir
whoever
lah.
goes into attains the founding Titan's power with the ability to actually
Yeah,
use it,
yeah.
because you achieve ultimate doability. But Ymir was just this hollow husk of a thing in this ethereal world.
She got all the powers but no purpose.
Yeah, no purpose, because all along she has been told by this other person how to use the power.
Yeah.
So without this person, without a King Fritz, she's unable to really attain freedom. So in a way, even though she had all the available resources to grasp freedom, to have complete autonomy in terms of what to do with her life, she couldn't do anything because there was no why behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it really also talked to me a little bit about freedom and what does that actually mean. And without power is only a means that you can use to grasp the end of freedom, whatever that is for you. But if you don't have that end, you keep going for power, it is useless. It's just you just feel like, I'm doing all this, I'm getting all this. Why do I still feel miserable?
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, which is really important why like Aaron had a very clear purpose.
Yeah, from the start
Yeah,
he
he
had
very clear
already.
purpose.
Yeah, freedom.
Yeah, actually I was telling you one of the things I noticed is that because Aaron always says Tatakai.
Tatakai, fight, right?
So reading 139 makes me realize in retrospect he was doing everything unwillingly. He did not want to do
He
it.
had no freedom actually, I think.
He had to convince himself
Yeah.
to do all this, which is why he said fight.
Against his will.
Yeah.
And he, for example, I love that when they flash back to him and Armin talking about when they're at the sea, like the plan actually, he told them, when I touched historian's hand, I saw all these things. Right? So he actually had feelings for Mikasa which nobody had ever
Suspected, right?
Yeah. And he said, I don't want her to know this because I don't want the burden. So he's carrying such a huge burden and he's talking all this high and mighty talk about, oh, I despise people, I hate you because you are somebody with no freedom. Which is actually the complete opposite of what he felt, you know, and he actually was enslaved to this plan that he saw, you know. So it's just this tapestry of fate that had already been sewn out, and then he had to go and like basically live out this destiny, even though it's completely against his selfish will.
You think he had no choice? I mean, like I felt like he made a conscious choice to follow it.
Maybe he had a choice, but he felt like he had none, so
Yeah.
he was actually enslaved to it. That's why when, you know, I think Armin called him a slave at one point, and he got damn pissed off. He's like, who you calling slave? Like, he got a bit,
Yeah.
he actually got annoyed, you know, because it hurt him.
Yeah.
He's like, that's my actual vulnerability.
That reminds me of something like Kenny Ackerman says,
Uh-huh.
everyone is a slave to something.
Yep.
Commander Irwin is slave to the truth.
Yes.
Right.
It's like how we say everybody got client.
Yeah.
Yeah, PM of Singapore also got client.
Yes.
People would disagree on who that client is, but definitely he got client one.
Yeah.
So is there anyone in this freaking universe, right, or in the AOT world that actually doesn't have a client? You would think Aaron, right? But actually he is the ultimate slave at the end of it. You know, when he said, I've attained ultimate freedom. But
Or
actually,
even Ymir had King Fritz as a
even Ymir had
client.
King Fritz.
Yeah.
So is it King Fritz? You know? And also, I like that they didn't explain what was the source of this power. She apparently ran into some hole in the tree, fell into some water, and then this spinal centipede came up, and then
Yes.
she got that power. But what is that? Is that from the tree, or is that just her pure will, right, of avoiding the pain that she felt? Right? So it is pain and suffering, which is coming from human conflict that is manifesting. And this idea of human conflict and this idea that we will never be peaceful or happy actually resonated with me when it comes to satisfaction also. Is there a point of time where we will actually be satisfied? Like, you know, when we started the work segment and we went full time, right? That was such my dream for such a long time. That was my idea of freedom. It's like seeing the sea. Armin want to see the sea. Then when they actually reach
Aaron,
it,
yeah.
Aaron he's looking beyond actually now what? What next?
Yeah.
So it feels like there is no end to it. There is no state of bliss. And even in the end, right, when they actually effectively remove Titans completely, also it said there is still no peace. The war rages on.
Yeah.
They are preparing troops.
So the point you're trying to make is
No, so the point is that there is no satisfaction because it is in human nature.
So it's not freedom anymore.
There's no freedom.
Yeah.
It's satisfaction. The idea of freedom is difficult because I also feel so when we became self-employed, I thought, wow, if I ever was self-employed, I'm done, man.
Yeah.
I made it already.
Yes.
Then when we actually got it, I was like, okay, so now I'm here, now what? And it just becomes like anything. It's like I felt like I reached the sea.
Yeah.
Then the Aaron in me said, then now what? We have more to do. And then now I feel I have more to do. And I have the suspicion that if I ever reach my target of financial freedom, which is a certain number I have in my head, I might feel like that. Then what's next?
Yeah. So do you feel like satisfaction is the path to freedom? In some ways, no?
I feel like you can't chase a destination. Satisfaction comes not from reaching somewhere, but looking back at the journey that you've come and how far you've come.
Yeah.
And the realization of like we talk about micro mindset and how you cannot be just know things within the wall.
Paradis Island, yes.
Paradis Island, you need to keep expanding. And we actually never even saw outside of Mali. We didn't really get a glimpse into what the world is like outside.
Yeah.
Is there rainforest? Is there all different kind of landscapes? We don't even know. We only actually all saw within one small part of the continent. That's all we saw. So the whole story, as vast as it was, only happened in a very small amount of space.
Yeah.
So I also think as a global citizen and with the access to the information highway, it is everybody's responsibility, to know as vastly or as widely as you can, to read as many different perspectives as you can, to really broaden your horizon. Because if you are stuck within the wall, regardless of all the good intentions you have, all the righteousness you have, which Aaron had in fucking spades,
Yeah.
you can't do much because you just don't know enough.
Yeah.
For example, Commander Irwin, we were saying, if he was around during this phase where he actually found out what was in the basement, what's outside of the walls, the existence of Mali, he would be able to do so much more because he had so much more information.
Yeah.
He did very little because he was pushing for...
He did not do, I would say he did not do little, but he did a lot given the limited resources.
Given the limited resources, yeah. So, that's I think that's a better way to say it. Yeah, so we should all try to push out as much as we can so that we can have more agency and affect the world.
I think it shows inequality of information or information asymmetry can really do to someone. Right. For example, digital divide.
Yeah.
The people who master tech get jobs, then they remove other jobs, then people left behind. So it's also like a theme, right? Knowing things is really so important. It's really we're living in the information age.
Yep.
And even in the Attack on Titan world, there's this sort of information divide.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. If you have no information, you'll be like Flago Reefs. You'll be like that little merchant, not seeing the bigger picture can hurt you in ways you...
And hurt the people around you.
Yeah, cannot even imagine.
Even when you're trying to exert a better force for humanity and make your society better, if you are not aware of the external macro implications, you will do a very piss poor job of it.
Yeah, this is like the priests within the wall who are trying to enforce things because of dogma, because their worldview was
so limited.
So limited, right?
They only know the superficial aspects of the greater lore, but they don't really understand it because they haven't been outside of it. They just read about it.
I feel everyone's responsibility is to, even if you want to pursue your own little niche thing, right?
Yeah.
First you understand the world.
Yeah.
Then you make a decision on whether or not you want to do it. And then you understand the trade-offs when you do it.
Yeah.
Right? If I stick to my dogma and stick to my principles,
biases.
Yeah, what is the cost? And if you can accept the cost, then do it.
I like the example of the priest because we don't really physically have walls that prevent us from expanding
it's like a mental wall.
It's a mental wall that we choose to stay into, so we only go to, I think it's social media, it's Wikipedia. The priests only see the Wikipedia of what the Titans kind of are, but they don't actually understand
It's not even Wikipedia, it's like the Attack on Titan
the Google
wiki.
Right,
no,
right,
no,
right,
yes,
right, right.
like fandoms got their own
Yes,
wiki,
yes,
right?
yes,
He
yes.
is restricted to
They're
the
reading
wiki.
their own wiki
Yeah.
on the thing.
And like, there's a whole bunch of like
True.
fuckload of wikis out there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what.
But our thing is not physical walls that prevents. Ours is like our biases and the comfort of staying in our own little
Country,
like bubbles of bias. Like I mean, like Facebook just allows you to join groups that share your inclination already, and I think it's so important to go and find groups that you completely disagree with and join it just to see.
Yeah.
There are a few groups that I'm in that I just disagree with everything.
Yeah.
But I just think it's good to
So at least understand the other point of view.
Yeah,
And that way you have
super
like, you
important,
can develop empathy, see
Damn
different
important.
perspectives as well.
yeah.
Actually, Aaron did that when he was talking to Rainer. So he was like, "Oh, Rainer, now I know how you feel. It must have been difficult
But that's just him relating
to do all the things that you did."
because he had already done the legwork of being in Mali,
Yeah,
doing the research.
but so Aaron decided based on understanding all this, the wider picture.
Yeah.
Aaron saw like the whole wide picture. I mean, what are you doing?
I'm just checking the recording. Yeah,
Yeah.
Aaron saw the wider
Yeah,
picture.
mostly because he can see the path and also he can.
And he changed so much. That was the point where Aaron changed from being everything righteous, everything
Yeah.
outraged, this is not right, to stoic,
Yes.
cool, complete temperance,
Yeah.
always keeps his card damn close to his chest.
And I feel
Something
yeah.
changed when he went to the other side and he became. You can argue whether correct or wrong or the right way to do it in terms of disagreeing with someone, but he became a much more effective executor of his will when he went to the other side and became stoic.
When he fought like the Warhammer Titan,
Yep.
he knew exactly what to
he
do.
was so cool, man.
He was just sitting back, making observation. Hey,
Yeah.
there's a wire there, there's a cable.
Yeah, okay, so it means the fucker is a
Oh,
remote
the person,
control.
the person
yeah.
actually formed from the bottom instead of top.
Yeah.
So in a way, I find like we all start off, we're all like Aaron. We start off life like Aaron in
That was
early chapters.
me in uni. I was
Yeah.
just outraged that what is not right that me as an artist wanting to express myself to make society better, no one will give me money. What the fuck? Then later on I realized, okay, that's not how the game works.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but
Yeah.
this is how the game works. I'm gonna do this to eventually be able to do what I
Yes,
want.
and if you want to change the game, you need to get
Yeah,
your
power
own.
first.
You need to collect your own titans.
Yes, and he collected what? The Warhammer, he had the founding, he had the attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So without that privilege,
Yes.
how do you exact your will upon the world?
Yes.
Unless
And
so
to,
there's
and to make it a better place.
Yep,
you know,
yep,
not
yep.
just for yourself, but the disadvantaged people. So if you want to,
make it a better place.
so
I love you.
if you want to
Stress.
better the world, I mean Aaron's way of bettering the world.
Amass power.
Yeah, but maybe it's a bit fucked up lah. Like the way he betters the world.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lesson there. You know, if you want to better the world, get the means to better the world. Then you can change the world and shape it in the way that you want.
Yeah.
Do not let someone else who doesn't have your principles
Yeah.
do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even, especially if you're a good person,
Yeah.
I mean good is subjective. Especially if you're a person who want to help others,
Yeah.
you must realize that you cannot help others if you cannot help yourself.
Mm.
Right? Like, there's like a lot of like bad people out there.
Yeah.
They have their own agendas. They are gaining power.
Yeah.
How? I mean, they're becoming rich.
Yeah.
Then they eventually exert power over
And then
you.
you think it's not right.
Yeah. But how can you
can
fight
you
back? You
fight
can be the rich person who becomes like the new generation of rich who does things like the way you want to be. You know,
Bill Gates.
Gandhi always says, not Gandhi. He doesn't always say it. I think it was misquoted actually.
Okay.
There's this famous.
Okay.
There's
Whoever
this,
said
yeah,
this.
someone said, but this famous misquotation of Gandhi that says like, be the change you want to be in the world.
Right.
So in a way, it's like that. You know, you can attain wealth, be rich, then you change the world.
Yeah, and I love that because the story is just full of people that are trying to exert their power.
Yeah.
So it's two types of games. This is like what Naval Ravikant said. Two types of games that people play. There's the status game and then there's the wealth game. So I think the wealth game is like power.
Yeah.
And then the status game to me, right, in this story is influence. So for example, right, how does Aaron get the ultimate power? He had to convince Emir to give it to him. So it's not just having power, you need to be able to convince people.
Yep.
So he actually played both games, in my opinion. He went to the right person to
Yep.
talk, and then he convinced. And then later on also, right, with their lack of power, for example, that campfire group that wanted to stop the rumbling, their plan essentially was to get to Aaron, or plan A. Their plan was to get to Aaron and convince him that this is wrong.
Yes.
Until he talk to all of them and say, you cannot convince me.
Yeah, he realized.
Then they use power to try to take it from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's these two types of power lah. Yeah. I thought it was quite cool that came out.
What do you think is an example of status game alone?
Status game alone are activists.
Yeah.
Not saying good or bad, because the activists I agree with, activists I disagree with. So activists are people that try to exert their influence without much money, resources. But influence itself is also a resource. It's just more intangible, and it's something that is can change from day to day. You know, one bad news about somebody saying, "Oh, you got an affair," then they can all completely change.
Yeah.
You know?
What do you think about like within the series?
Within the series,
who played the status game?
I think actually, that's a good question. Status game within the series. Do you have anyone in mind who did that?
Not really. I mean, which is why I asked you.
Because we are seeing people exert power all over the place. You know, even Flegel, for example, and they were exerting their rich power. You know, so maybe less of it, but without playing the status game, without playing the influence game, I don't think Aaron would have been able to wrestle Ymir's power away from Zeke. And Zeke was such a controlling figure up till the moment where Aaron flipped it.
Yeah.
And he after that became such a
Yeah.
like a hermit afterthought, you know.
If you think about it, status game maybe is like a lot like a soft skill. Then
I know your point. I mean, I
wealth
agree.
game is kind of like a
skill.
hard technical skill.
So you need the hard skill to get to a certain point, and then you need the soft skill past that certain point.
You need both. You need both if you want to.
Hard skills will get you to management level, but if you want to go beyond management level, you need soft skills to be able to sell, negotiate, sometimes
Convince
push
people,
back.
persuade people.
Yeah, that is the more important thing in the high level. So Aaron amassed enough resources to get to that tier where he can use Zeke to access that ether, to access Ymir. Then he used
soft skill on.
Amazing, right?
Yeah. He
Walao.
he just
Yeah,
soft
great.
skill, physical
Soft skill,
touch.
yeah.
How to
Negotiation.
a new skills future course perhaps.
Attack on Titan, hard skills and soft skills.
Yeah.
I think another point also, actually, talking about money and this, right, is inequality. Because Titans essentially, right, are such an imbalanced privilege. And it's a privilege that cannot even be transferred. Like if you talk about the two bombs, for example, that were dropped on Japan, that was a huge advantage. And I thought it was a bit similar to Titans because you use it in warfare. But actually, the advantage is conferable because you can learn how to make these bombs. And then now I have the advantage, right? Hey, wait, let me pause it. Okay, let me see. Okay, 7 minutes still can. Yeah, so you can learn the formula to make these bombs, blueprints, then I can make it. You can't do that at Titans. You need the blood. You need that race to do it. So, I don't know what parallel there. I was trying so hard to find what is a real world parallel of Titans in terms of like countries. I can't find it. Because it's not like, oh, this kind of people can do this kind of thing and that confers them such a huge advantage in battle. Usually it's very small things, right?
Yeah.
So actually what I made sense of it is that it's inequality. And the point that they tried to make, especially Zeke, right, was that inequality can only end when the person holding the privilege decides to end it by evening things out.
Yes.
I.e. in this case, right, it was genocide of his race's future, which is very extreme. But I think actually that is the only thing it will take because power corrupts. You know, so imbalance. It just takes the rich to have to say, I'm giving all of this up, I'm giving it back to people. Which I don't know I agree with. You know, but I thought it was a very interesting point.
I guess like the closest thing to is what I would think privilege would be like historical privilege.
Historical
That
privilege?
accumulated over centuries. Okay, you know where I'm getting at. Like
Oh, I know. Yeah. Okay.
Developed countries versus less developed countries. You have advantage like really like coded into your color of skin, like, you know, you're born in a Western country.
True.
Immediately you look at it, like people think even Asian people looking at Western, oh, they are superior. Because it's been hard coded.
But it's not genetically hard-coded. It is culturally coded.
Because it's over such a long period
Long
of time.
time, yeah, there is this
This perception.
this privilege.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so it was interesting to me that it's like almost taxing the rich. Or basically the 0.1% deciding to give everything.
Yeah. So it's like when people say like, let's undo colonialization, you know.
How?
The richer countries pay reparations to poor
How
countries.
much is that? That's
I
so
don't
much.
know. I mean,
Who's gonna do the accounting for that?
it's a really complex issue. Like.
Yeah.
But I think you either pay reparations or the countries that are less advantaged, they kind of like hustle to get on the same level, which is what China is doing or try to do, or I think which is doing is more accurate.
That is true, because I do think, like when I see Chinese people that come here from China, their hunger and ambition is, there is a difference. I really truly believe that there's a, not saying they're all like that, but the likelihood of taking someone at random that is, from another country that is in Singapore versus a regular Singaporean, I think there's a difference in terms of like just hunger and drive, not saying anything
also
else.
it's like self-selection, right?
What I mean, so the best make it here?
The hungers leave, lah.
True.
The complacent
True.
state.
Right.
You can see it, I'm not just the Chinese, right? Like,
Yep.
expats in general. I remember last time first time I went overseas with my dad, like he was telling me like, he take picture of like a beggar in a Western country.
A white beggar.
Yeah, and he was like damn amazed lah.
True. I get the point.
Yeah, like, oh wow, there's a white beggar. I'm gonna snap some pics.
I remember my primary school teacher telling me about that also.
Yeah.
Like telling the class. Like,
it's like, oh, they can actually be a pro-white person.
Yeah.
And because of self-selection, we always see all the rich, successful white people here.
Yeah.
That kind of shapes our perception of them.
Yeah.
I feel like we are
good point.
straying from the topic.
Okay, let's get back to it. I got another point I want to say.
Sure.
So my favorite moment, I think, in some of the last chapters, right, was when Armin also goes to this ethereal sand castle world, like where there's just sand everywhere, that place where you see the path, and then he's talking to Zeke, and then he realizes, right, that the dream of his life, or the point of his life, or the center of all his dreams and ambitions come from, is this image of Eren, Mikasa running up a hill to the tree, and then there's just grass everywhere, and he's running after them, and then he picks up this leaf, and he passes it to Zeke, and it becomes the baseball. And I thought the baseball is my favorite analogy in the whole show, because the baseball, to, for example, Grisha is just a baseball, nothing to him. He's concentrated on making his boy a warrior to fight for the cause of Eldians. To the Beast Titan, it is a weapon, it is a means of training. To the guy, the Mr. What's his name?
Cassava.
Cassava, It is training, and also it's just something he enjoys doing.
A fun thing.
But to Zeke, it is fatherhood. It is me having fun together with my father.
Yeah.
So the same thing means so many. That's why I love that ball thing. And I love that passing of the leaf becomes the ball. So it's like everybody has their own why in life and their own life goals. And we might be doing the same thing to try to reach at all our different life goals. So they are all reaching for freedom.
Now that I realize it, I realize like, now that I mention it, I realize that Eren actually leaves the baseball and the glove aside. He never plays it. The first time we see Eren, he's sitting down.
True, yes.
Maybe it's like Isayama trying to say like, oh, you don't really care about.
Yeah, because he's saying like, you're my brother.
Yeah.
And he realizes, our dad didn't do to you what he did to me.
Yeah.
That's why he never had this whole thing of my father made me do this.
And by like,
it's like I came out of it. In fact, I told the father to do this.
Yeah. And like, we're just ignoring the ball, because the ball was just beside him. He didn't even do anything.
Yeah. Like, your why in life to me is nothing. I don't even get it.
It means nothing to me.
It means nothing to me, I don't get all the trauma of you walking in the square seeing another father playing ball with a kid.
Yeah, that's not me.
Nothing to me.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great. Is there another point that you like to relate to? Personal finance.
The other point I have is like, what Armin always say, if you cannot afford to risk anything, you will never gain anything.
Yep.
And I think like we see that.
Investing, is it?
I mean we see that a lot. I mean, sacrifice is also a big theme in the show, right? Like, or like risk, lah, right? Eren takes the risk of not fighting Annie.
When
he leaves Squad Levi to go fight Annie by themselves. The payoff doesn't start.
yes, we're in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Erwin sacrifices, takes the risk, to fight the Beast Titan.
He risked his entire freaking squadron.
He always takes risks,
Yeah,
right? Aaron, Aaron doesn't risk things, but he sacrifices his whole humanity to help.
He
Paradis
sacrificed
Island.
himself.
Yeah.
He's not afraid of losing himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like even like Zeke, to defeat a superhuman, which is Levi, he have to go activate a thunder spear and be ready to lose everything.
Yes, and he was ready to pull that shit off.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
blow himself almost to death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel it kind of shows like, I like investing, like you said, people always text us, looking for like a perfect risk-free system. So for example, if I tell them, historic S&P 500 performance over the past 20 years.
Historic S&P 500.
Historic. Did I say historic?
I heard historic. Okay, historic.
Okay,
yes.
Historic. Yeah, it's 7%.
Yeah.
Let's say you just need to do 7% a year. Historically, this is the result. People will ask like, where can I get 7%?
Yeah, I see that question.
Yeah, where can I get 7%? But
there's no risk-free one.
yeah, there's no risk-free, especially if you're looking at returns that much.
You're risk-free put under a mattress, but no returns.
Yeah. So I mean, to gain something, you really have to
be ready to lose something, or be okay with the possibility of losing something.
Exactly. So for example, you want to put in CPF special account. Sorry, very very nerdy. Get 4% guaranteed returns. What do you lose? You lose liquidity.
Yeah, the ability to access it anytime you want to.
Because it's irreversible.
Yeah.
You want to make money through a side hustle.
Yeah.
You put in the time, you lose time with your loved ones. That is something you lose.
Trade-offs.
Yeah.
Right.
So you really always lose something, and I wish like more people understood the concept of trade-off, even though it's quite an easy thing to. Not easy thing, it's a simple thing, but it's not easy to understand.
Yeah, and people who put up that risk, I think different people have different risk profile. I think probably if they were all investors, Armin would be a very safe investor.
Yeah.
Commander
Armin would be the crazy.
Commander Armin would put everything up, and especially what's that guy's name? Zeke. He would put everything in Bitcoin because he blew himself open with that thing. At that point of time, he would have dumped everything in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Erwin is interesting because I feel like he risked it, but he risked it after thinking about it rationally.
Yeah.
I always feel like it was not so much like a Aaron thing where just by pure will he would risk himself and his own mortality. Erwin would weigh everything and then put it up on the line and be okay with it.
He make educated guesses and be prepared to lose lah.
Yeah.
Even though you might argue like the stakes were damn high for him, but I mean because of storytelling, obviously he wins a lot lah. But
he wins a lot.
In reality, you would be it would not be good for you if you think you are Commander Erwin, cause
actually he didn't accomplish his dream of seeing that basement thing. It's just it seems very selfish, at the end of it when he was like deciding, and then also Levi had to weigh, do I resurrect Armin or
Commander
Erwin? Yeah. Like when you see them all in the Valhalla, this afterworld.
This is after Hanji died, right?
Yeah, and everybody who was put in a leadership position all have some regrets. Hey, can you turn this way a little bit? Because you're turning away from the camera.
Yeah.
Like everybody has regrets. Everybody. So like you were saying earlier about how you need power to exact your vision, your righteousness, your vision on the world.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I think I've got a little bit of a glimpse of, because I'm not on the same level as Elon Musk, all these captains of industries,
yes.
like literally like pushing at the very frontiers of human knowledge and exploration and this kind of thing when it comes to commercial exploration of space, right? I also wonder if they ever think, right, like when they're alone at night, just laying awake, like, am I doing the right thing actually? Because I'm exacting my vision, but who's to say this is the right one or the wrong one?
Yeah.
And everybody had that. Hanji had that. Like, Hanji had imposter syndrome for the whole time after she was named commander.
Yeah.
She's like, wow, like, am I even, like, I have so much power, I'm doing so much, what? Who is to say that this is the right or the wrong thing?
Even Erwin has imposter syndrome, right?
Erwin has so much, and I love that he had it because he is the most outwardly, like,
confident
admirable
guy.
person. Yeah. He is so noble, and his air is so great, this Shinzo Sasage, which later on was actually twisted by ordinary people that didn't have macro perspective to mean something else, to mean a very selfish uprising that has such a micro perspective. That's why I think, like, in the face of this kind of thing, right, when you are at that kind of level where you have the ability and the resources to push, right, of course you might be making the wrong call, but the best thing you can do, right, is to have a macro perspective so that you are able to understand as much as possible. Then you make the call. And I think that's the best you can do already. Because, we talk about evil, good and evil, and powerful forces going head to head. It is just people usually there's no such thing as pure evil where people are doing bad things just for
I
the sake of
think
being bad.
if you're pure evil, right?
Yeah.
My guess is you probably do it for a few days.
You're like,
And then
oh,
you say, actually, why am I doing this?
yeah. So always the most twisted and evil people, or the most like
Yeah. Like in Watchmen,
Yeah.
Ozymandias does
yeah,
it because
he does the ultimate horror,
he
which is
believes
to
that
kill
it's
so
to
many
save the
people.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's usually some kind of righteousness
Yeah.
to it. You know?
I mean, there's a saying like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
Exactly. So
Hitler probably felt he was doing Germany good.
yeah,
when
but
he
I
did that.
cannot possibly understand what he had
Yeah.
in mind to justify
So
that.
he had like some sick justification.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure
Yeah.
that probably was something. Like
Because
that.
if you really act on evil, like, haha, I'm gonna do evil
I don't
things.
think it's sustainable, no.
Yeah,
This kind of
yeah.
fuel, you know. It is so difficult.
Yeah, I think to do it like consistently over the long term, you have to genuinely believe in it.
Yeah.
Whether or not it is good or bad for the world, that's a separate matter. But you have to believe that it is good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then conviction really helps you fulfill. No, helps you when things get rough.
Yeah, what I love was that if you read the manga, I don't know if they'll do it in the series, but there was sort of an alternate reality where Eren envisioned himself living out his remaining 4 years with Mikasa on a farm, and nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
And they just lay low and live out their lives together,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
So that was the alternative path, which is like I amass great power, but I'm so afraid of what if I am choosing the wrong side.
Yeah.
Because nobody is going to tell you right or wrong already. Nobody can tell you. You are at such a unique position that you see more than everybody else. So it must be so overwhelming to be in that kind of position. You know? That's why I really do respect Elon Musk in a way, because he's pushing for something at such a forefront, like this space thing.
Yeah.
That like, who can you ask for
in a
help?
way, like this is saying like leadership is a lonely position.
It is,
Right.
and there's a price to pay.
Yeah, I guess
It's a
that's
very
yeah,
exacting price.
I guess that's what we're getting.
Yeah,
at.
and you have to live with the fact that
Consequences.
somebody will disagree with you. The higher you get, the more there'll be people disagreeing with you, and even more fervently.
True. Actually, like for our, that's how I witnessed it with our page also.
Yeah.
When we had like maybe 10K people on IG.
Yeah.
I think everyone like got along.
Yeah.
We there are like not
Insect.
inside jokes we could make, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And now when like
Just be careful already.
the page is big. I mean it's not even to be careful, but people will start to disagree, say, hey, why didn't you do it this way?
And we're not complaining. We
Yeah.
are just saying what it feels like to
Yeah.
us. Yeah. I mean, this is part of it. We understand that.
Yeah. It's part of the job, if you will.
Yeah. So wow, the weight of carrying such a thing for Aaron must be immense.
Yeah. Cause I mean he has more than like he holds like maybe 6 million,
Yeah.
maybe even hundreds of millions of lives,
Yeah.
and then he had to do something. Of course,
And
someone's
I-
going to disagree with him.
Yeah, and I love that they even showed that alternative reality. They did it with Jean also.
Yeah.
Of what if I just chose the selfish thing? I just retire. I just don't want to do it already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you show it to John?
No, Jean, or
Yeah.
however you pronounce,
Yeah.
he had his own visual
Yeah.
of
The
living-
Singaporean life,
Yeah,
yeah.
Singaporean life,
Yeah.
that one.
Everyone has kind of like different roles in the thing, right? Like, I love the dynamic between Erwin and Levi. Even though Levi is more skilled, a lot more skilled, he's superhuman compared to Erwin. It's Erwin that calls the shots.
But Levi is not a good communicator.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a hard skills guy.
So he's a hard skills
Yeah,
guy,
hard skills
hard
guy.
skill killing titan.
Yeah.
Erwin soft skill.
Convincing the
convincing, motivation,
Yeah.
persuading people. And I think that's when you actually give scale to your vision. When you are one person, when you're Levi,
Levi can just keep slashing and slashing
Yeah.
and slashing, but he can't really
he can't
change
start,
at scale.
he can't start a movement.
Yeah.
Big scale movement.
Yeah.
Convince
That's true.
people to go kill themselves, sacrifice themselves. I don't think that's something Levi can do. Even when it comes to like Armin and Mikasa, Armin is soft skills.
Actually,
again.
yeah, very similar.
Yeah, Armin is soft skills,
Yeah,
Mikasa
yeah.
hard skills.
Although I never saw that aspect of Armin. Maybe he's very young. Like Erwin is a very adult
Yeah.
person. So Armin definitely had the soft skill in terms of like tactical planning and
Yes.
also thinking of the macro thing.
Yeah.
And he understood that he's good at that and that he's bad at some things, because I remember that fight, was it Shiganshima? The big fight, then he couldn't think.
Which season?
4B is that? I forgot. So there was a point where they fight, then he cannot
yes,
think.
yes,
They say,
yes.
Armin, we need you to come up with a plan. Then I cannot. Okay, can you please take over
Yeah.
the immediate thing first. I think Jean was
Yes.
the one that took over and said, okay guys, let's do this, do that. Like I'm
Exactly.
gonna take care of the micro while
Exactly.
he thinks of the macro. So
Yeah.
he delegated actually.
I think that was where I was gonna get next. Like
Yeah.
John is actually like a good mix.
Yeah.
He has both soft skill and he has some hard skills.
Some hard skills.
And I mean it kind of gives hope to us. I mean we all can't be
Well, I'm a hard skill guy.
Yeah.
I can stretch a bit into soft skill territory and I'm good at some soft skills. But at some point you will feel like this is the most I can do.
Yeah.
And it's better to have team members that you can rely on. So
Yeah.
you can scale
Yeah.
the things that you do.
And really, like everyone has like a part to play. Even if you look at big picture, like Aaron has the hard skill of killing 80% of the world. Armin has the soft skill of brokering for peace. I mean, they played up his small hero.
Actually, it didn't even convince him because Aaron
No,
it was all part of it.
no, but like Armin leads the delegation
Yes,
to
yes,
go
yes.
broker for peace to
Yes,
Paradis Island,
yes.
and he's like
He
say
is
like
the one that would have been
Yeah.
the person to
yeah.
hit
So
this thing.
Aaron brings Armin to the point that it's teamwork. If you think in the fight for peace, it's teamwork. Aaron brings Armin to the point where his soft skills can play a part to broker for peace.
Can
For the world.
galvanize,
Yeah.
that party, right?
Exactly.
To do that great fight.
Yeah, and actually, Armin even acknowledges it in a way. Like he says, "I am Armin Alert, the person who killed Aaron Yeager."
Yeah.
So,
He's playing up to the cameras.
Yeah.
It's a bit like when Erwin was stepping out. Like he says something like almost like he said, I don't want to be an influencer in a way. He's like, wow, I gotta do this thing, I gotta go and talk to people.
Yeah.
It's part of the job. You gotta do it. So when Armin actually went that's a good point. When Armin goes, I am Armin Alert and I am the guy who killed
Aaron Yeager.
He's assuming
He's doing Erwin.
He's doing a PR thing,
Yeah.
yeah. He's doing what Historia was doing
Yeah.
in a way, to serve as a figurehead.
So PR,
Because you need that.
Yeah. So PR and soft skills is
Yep.
really damn important.
Yeah. You can't just be a good technocrat. You can't be somebody who just designs a good policy. You gotta sell it. And you need somebody who's able to sell it as well. Because there's no point in designing something amazing
Yeah.
if you can't even put it in the plan because nobody will vote for it. So Armin realizes this at the end of it, which is a similar realization that we saw Erwin do. From a commander of a military
Yeah.
squadron,
Yeah.
he became the leader of a state. For a
And
short
that is
moment.
not something that you get easily.
And it is something that
yeah.
comes with so much of a price. It's a huge burden
Yeah.
to bear.
Yeah, because in the beginning it's very natural to only think of you, your role in your job lah. Hey, how come my boss doing this?
Yeah.
How come I sell thing to client?
Yeah.
Why not we just do it?
Yeah.
I mean, that was me last time also.
Me also,
Like,
yeah. I can completely relate.
Then you realize the bigger picture, then you're like, oh, okay. And it takes time to learn the bigger picture.
It's a scary thing because me going to assume the role of manager, that was very scary for me because I'm thinking wait, so I gotta front the thing? And then I come up with a lot of excuses it's not me, I don't want to be so superficial. It's not superficial. It is assuming a very important role, one that comes at a huge price because all the criticism will fall on you if anything happens.
Yeah.
And that's a very exacting price and
Yeah.
it takes a toll. That's why Michael Jordan basically faded, I think, into the background after his career because he has been the front for so long and people don't understand what it's like to be Michael Jordan. They see the fame and the glory, right, and they think it must be great to be him. But you just watch the documentary, when he goes out, anywhere he goes in public, he's swarmed.
You're talking about The Last Dance, right?
The Last Dance, amazing documentary also, and it's just, you very quickly understand it is such a huge price to pay to be a leader of something great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for somebody to assume that it's not easy.
It's
It's,
like
it's
what-
not like they're chasing the,
Yeah.
the spotlight,
Is that what Flock said about Commander Erwin?
What did he say about?
Like he lead the recruits knowingly lead the recruits to their death.
Yeah, but that's not. He had to
Yeah, he had
risk
to do it, yeah.
Otherwise nothing
Yeah.
happens. Otherwise they will be
And-
there anyway being rained down by fucking Zeke and they will die anyway.
Yeah, and I love it when Levi chooses to let him die.
Yeah.
'Cause he knows actually how shag it is, right?
Yeah.
To bear this entire burden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
You got any other points?
No, I think we can end it.
You can talk about your favorite characters.
Okay. My favorite character actually is still Aaron, even though when he did his whole Thanos thing, I just like him. I just like his
Is it the hair?
the hair,
Yeah.
and he is so freaking stoic. He reminds me so much of the way I was when I was a young animator, so indignant that, wow, what do you mean I can't do this? Oh, the world should accept and want me to express myself through animation. Then later on I find out how, and then I learned to keep my cards close to my chest. I learned how to hide my intentions, hide and bite.
Yeah.
Like I was so annoyed with him at some points because like when he was like at the top of the trees with Reiner and he just kept yelling like, no, cannot like that, that's not right. And then I'm just like, dude, shut up and let them talk. Then you find out the plan.
Yeah, you
I
can
was
learn-
so angry.
learn things,
I
right?
paused the anime to tell like Jiahui, my fiance, like, what's going on? And she's just play the thing. Can you stop like talking
Yeah.
over them?
Yeah.
So I still like him because he's in my mind he's the protagonist. But if I was to put him aside, I think I like Armin a lot because he is a very downplayed person because he's not your typical anime hero. He's very doubtful. He's very like second guessing. But I think he's a very realistic character and ultimately he assumes a very front and center role and it was very balanced way. Like he's not just like like you watch Naruto that kind. It's just always the same kind of hero. Like brazen, confident,
Yeah.
true force of will, and confidence are
They
overcome.
call it the
It's an archetype,
what was it called? The shonen archetype.
Shonen archetype. Yeah. And
Naruto,
there was Aaron was a bit
Shingeki,
like that,
yeah.
but every time he does that, right, he'll be slapped down to the floor. And
Yeah.
that has never got him through anything. Like whenever he's like determined, very few cases it actually paid off. Man. Okay, who's your favorite character?
I think like I have a few favorite characters, but
Pick.
nothing too complex lah, right?
Ah.
Okay, I mean obviously I like Commander Erwin.
Conan was great. Yeah. I like him a lot.
I think he's quite a timeless character.
Yeah.
He, if you look at it like from a macro perspective,
Yeah.
he didn't have a privileged background.
He didn't. Yeah.
He's just a dude
Yeah.
living in a disadvantaged world. And he made use of
Trying
what
to-
he have. Actually,
yeah.
he brought Paradis really close to the truth.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
actually, his
yeah.
marketing campaign was so enduring.
Yeah,
Shinzo
yes.
Sasageo, it became such a thing
Yes,
that it was
Shinzo
even
Sasageo.
sometimes used wrongly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like him a lot also.
yeah, and I felt like he knew when to make the hard decisions
Yeah.
and also when to be
And he made it so confidently. That's so difficult.
yeah
Like I just think also like his ability to like freaking go ahead even though he's damn doubtful.
yeah
Because when you decide, you decide. You
Yes.
don't charge halfway and say, hey guys,
Yeah.
let's go back. Sorry, I think
yeah,
not
yeah,
working.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should not. I mean, like
He
he's
go-
what I wish I could be like. Confident. He know how to do things.
Yeah, yeah,
Although in real life, I think it would be very hard to be a Commander Erwin.
Yeah, and with so little information, he did so much. And even if he stepped the wrong way,
Yeah.
because if you don't have the whole picture, sometimes you think going this
Yeah.
way is good, but actually you might be.
Yeah,
But you can always tell his intentions are damn pure. He wants to make the world a better
Yeah.
place. Whatever information he has about what is the world
Yeah.
and what the situation is.
and I mean in the beginning I thought maybe he's like a bit of a sociopath, right? He killed all these people. A lot of people died and he don't feel anything.
Yeah.
But I think before he died, he actually showed that he was actually completely realizing what he was responsible for.
Yeah.
And I felt like wow, that actually add like a humanizing angle to him,
True.
and I really appreciate
True.
that.
Who else you like?
I think Levi is also worth a mention. So
Yeah.
usually anime characters, right? If they are badass as Levi, they will have like a damn big ego. Don't tell me what to do.
But he's an archetype also, like a very good and powerful guy who is very cool and
Yeah.
downplayed. That's also an archetype that you see a lot.
Yes, but like this powerful and good guy will also like disrespect authority,
Yeah.
do things his own way. But actually, Levi knows how to be a good follower, and I think that's very
Yeah,
underrated.
he knows his place
Yeah.
when it's time.
Yeah,
to
he knows what is his role to
Yeah.
do the thing, and I think like, well, I mean it is.
That whole Ackerman arc, that was
Yeah.
really his leadership also showed through as
Yeah.
as somebody with hard skills assuming a leadership
He
position.
actually also knows when to be soft. Like he's actually quite kind and quite, you expect him to be like some rude jerk, right? Yeah, but actually he's really caring to soldiers, especially I think in season 1 where someone died, right? Then he gave like a souvenir of someone that he might have liked, I think Petra, to the person. So I really felt like I think Levi is,
He knows when to go soft.
yeah,
also.
even though his soft skill not as great as Commander Erwin.
What do you think about Hanji?
Hanji.
I like Hanji a lot.
I love Hanji's exit. I think that was crazy.
I think that was one of the most heartfelt moments.
Yeah.
Apart from the baseball thing, to me that was how it was drawn in the manga. Because I remember the panel. It is the footsteps. For some reason, the big titans their footsteps like hoof, right?
Yeah.
So it's just then she survived. Then she looks up, it is everybody, who died in the survey call. This Valhalla, this hall of heroes, and warriors. And you understand that she died, but she was not mangled or anything, That was such a beautiful thing. It's like you did your job.
It's like a crazy exit.
It's great. Like even though Commander Irwin's original plan and vision for the survey call completely has changed. But actually they were all working for the same abstract, which is to make the world a better place. Whatever the situation is.
I wonder if like people who are not so relevant in the workforce these days will feel like a tinge of how Hanji felt. Or how Levi felt. Well, the world has changed already.
It changed beyond me. The meta
like,
has shifted.
You get that sense of like lostness.
Yeah, I mean like Levi has been a Titan killing machine, a pure Titan. If ever say the world continue and then Titans become no more, what is he gonna do? He has to upskill. He has to change to something else. But I bet his soft skills will still help him whatever he does. He will still be an amazing commander, amazing leader because of all his experiences and his ability to be hard at the right times and soft at the right times. He will still be able to translate. He's just a valuable person.
Okay.
I
really like Pig.
You like Pig? Why?
I know you don't like Pig that much.
Okay.
But I think she reads the situation really well. And I mean as far as anime characters go.
She's cute, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's quite cute. I hate saying
I don't know, she looks very sleepy all the time.
I mean, okay lah.
Because the card Titan demands endurance, so she's just always tired.
Yeah, exactly. I think she reads the situation really well, unlike like a very hot-headed guy like Porco.
Yeah, true.
So,
and she's very loyal. She. So one of my favorite lines also was the exchange between her and Gabby. She asked Gabby, you know who we are, what we are? Then Gabby says, we are honorary Malayans.
Yeah.
Then she says, no, we are, what is it?
Descendants of Ymir.
Descendants of Ymir. So I thought she was saying, forget about this racial and this country thing. Let's talk about race because this thing is in our blood.
Yeah.
So she zoomed out. But actually, right, the review at the end of that arc was that she actually, right, was just, I wouldn't say it was just, but she was just looking out for her comrades that would ride with her in the tank. I don't like her because it just seems like you had such a macro perspective for a second that I admired, and then you went back to just being loyal, which is a very admirable trait. I just thought like, wow, seriously,
I think the line was like, I choose to fight with the people who I trust or something like that.
I just felt like that's a bit, it's a bit like corny lah. Just my thing comes first. Even though Connie, even though he took Falco to the thing, he had second up. That's why I like Armin actually, because he jumped into the mouth of the thing. He was so ready to sacrifice himself to make his friend realize and then have his friends go. But I felt that was a bit stupid of Armin also because he didn't understand how important he was. And that's very important also, that you cannot underestimate yourself. You need to give yourself due credit. I mean, you try to be humble and whatever, but I think Armin was a bit like,
well, I think characters like
don't do that.
Pete and Connie, remind us that we don't need to be like noble and big picture all the time. Sometimes we
all feel for them because humans are social creatures.
Sometimes we are flawed characters doing like our funny small picture thing.
But the small picture things sometimes are the ones that make it all worthwhile because they talk about the trivialities of little things that happen in life. A leaf, a baseball. These are the things that make everything worthwhile. And when we go and zoom out so cosmically, Ymir had all of that, but there's no meaning. No meaning. It didn't feel like she was attached to her kids. The kids just became the name on the walls. So what was her item? She didn't have an item. So she's hollow. But these trivialities, as small as they are what makes life worth living. So it also makes me think like, ultimately, what is the point of it? Like, what is humanity? What are we living for? What are the values that are universal? And there are some things that are universal. For example, like we talk about what's right and what's wrong. Most people seem to agree, right, that killing people is just wrong, or killing innocent people
who have not done
wrong.
shit.
They have not done shit. But then you can say and argue that, well, that's a very primal thing because we are social creatures. But to understand the macro of it, sometimes you need to sacrifice so many people. And in a twisted way, I think like Irwin also was sort of on that thread. You know, he understood. But Irwin's one was a lot more like.
they also, of course, let's just not forget
Yeah.
it's anime lah. I mean,
Of
Isamaya
course.
wants you to like Erwin.
Of course, ultimately,
Yeah.
of course, yes,
Yeah.
it's all anime lah.
Yeah.
I get it. It's just great.
I want to give like a special shout out to Code, which is Falco's brother.
Oh, yeah. That was very sad.
Oh, I found out I was so sad when I found out like I was not even attached to Code, you know.
Yeah. He's a very side character.
Yeah, it's a small side character. I knew with this limited development he was gonna die already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they played out like peak scenes.
Yes,
Even
yes.
Galliard had some
You
scenes.
saw it coming.
Code was just some guy in the background. But like, I think that particular scene where he hugs Falco and says like,
He yelled at Zeke, "Don't yell because my younger
brother will do it. And he says like, "Oh, your big brother will always be with you." Oh my god, like what?
Because I mean,
so
like
sad.
when
Yeah.
you're an elder sibling, not that I know I'm the youngest one.
Yeah, I'm also youngest.
Yeah, so but the idea that you're supposed to protect somebody is so
Yeah.
universal. I think every culture can identify.
Yeah.
Like a father protects a son.
Yeah.
You know, a mother protects their kids also. So like I think
I
everybody.
think logically, like the most logical thing to do when Falco was transforming was obviously to run away.
Yeah.
Right,
But
but-
his
But his love was so
and it's interesting also
yeah.
because Zeke
it's also,
uses that
yeah.
same type of logic. Yes, I understand as the elder brother, but also as the elder brother, I need to do this.
Yeah.
Then he yells and it happens.
Yeah.
You know.
Was
That was heartbreaking.
I was quite devastated when I found out. I didn't really care for Code before, but in one panel, Isayama made me
Yeah.
care for Code, and I felt like wow, that's a feat, man.
I particularly like Gabby's transformation also, like how she was just the most single-minded,
Yeah.
entire
Young Aaron.
Yeah, young Aaron. But
Yeah.
she really through the the interaction with Kaya and the family, Sasha's family. I love that whole arc, like how she was the one who shot Sasha. And then her family was the one that found them and gave them such love
Yeah.
and respect and to actually teach her that they're not devils, they're just people.
Yeah.
And there's bad people and good people in every community. That's a very very important lesson, you know, like in every community that you see and disagree, there are good and bad people inside there.
Yeah. I think it's very easy in the age of internet to kind of like demonize everyone. You
You
know?
disagree with me, you are the other side. You're a bad person.
Because we also recycle a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see these like
In
groups
Singapore, it's a very divisive thing, yeah.
like shitting on cyclists.
Yeah.
Then like sometimes I would like want to write something that is like fucking toxic to drivers.
I've done it actually.
Yeah, like,
I've done it.
Fuck you all, I hope you all rise
Yeah,
COE
it's-
or something.
Yeah.
Then I realized like well actually there are also good drivers good drivers also. And
They're
I just like
quiet.
I'm like yeah like what you do, I'll write like a long paragraph, then I just delete everything. I was like, well actually there are
I've sent before and then like you just get into an argument and then you hate
Yeah.
them even more.
Yeah.
But this is just one person, you
Yeah.
know, in the sea of also a lot of very balanced views about cycling.
so we can learn from Gabby
Definitely,
like
yeah.
don't generalize
Yeah.
people and I think there are for whatever it's worth. I think there are good people in every single group, man.
Yeah, so sorry this has been a bit like all over the place because we're just so enthusiastic. This is not an analysis. We are not saying this is the be all and end all. You know, there's so much to discuss when it comes to Attack on Titan. If you guys have anything to say about Attack on Titan, especially if it relates to personal finance and life,
Yeah.
leave it down in the comments. Maybe we'll do a part 2, you know, like
Yeah.
if you have anything you'd like to add that we didn't talk about. Because there's really so much. There's probably like 3 more 5-hour conversations we will have, you know, about
Yeah.
Attack on Titan. And so much more, we'll just keep mentioning it. So there's really so much to say, so we won't cover everything. So this is just kind of like our first responses to it. Yeah. So I think we can end the video here. I'd like to also take this opportunity to thank our non-existent sponsor, Ahwat Trading. Again, you know, he has come through, you know, as one of the most, I think like the third most significant purveyor of non-existent goods in this building.
Yes.
We'd like to thank our sponsor,
Yes.
you know, yeah.
It's a good sponsor.
It's a good sponsor. Doesn't exist, but
You should do the thing that you remind people to like and subscribe.
okay. So remember to like if you like the video. If you don't like, then you can do the down one.
Yes.
You know, that's
but,
also
but,
good.
but don't lah. Why would you
No,
do
do
that?
lah. I mean feedback lah. You know, so
Okay,
we
okay,
know
okay.
also lah.
Okay,
But
feedback,
don't just do it
feedback,
for fun. You know, then we're like, wow, why so many
Yeah.
like lightsaber like that? You know.
You just tell us why, you know what I mean?
Like, but comment and then share if you think you know this is interesting. You
Yeah.
know, you can also hear this thing on like Spotify and all these other things that people do it on.
Yes.
So bye bye.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, and remember to stay woke, salarymen and women and persons.
Yes.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.